Hey everyone, I'm Chef AJ, and I wanted to make this short video to answer a question that we get almost every day on my live daily show, Chef AJ Live. How do I get on this show? So whether you're somebody that's trying to get on the show or somebody recommending someone, this is what you have to do. And it's a fairly simple process. You just go to my website, which is my name, chefaj.com. It looks like this. It's mostly purple and green, my favorite colors. And you scroll up. Well, actually, obviously, if you're on a computer, you would be doing it a little different, not with your finger, but you kind of scroll up, up, up. Halfway, there's a little thing that says subscribe to my newsletter. You don't have to do that to be on the show, but if you'd like to be notified who is on the show every day and to be able to ask questions, you definitely want to do that. But just to be on the show or just to contact me for any reasons, because I don't have a messenger on my phone, so I don't see messages that are sent to me through social media like Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. I just don't see them. I never get them. They get lost in some kind of cyberspace. But if you go all the way to the bottom, it says get in touch, click it, and then you'll see a little form like this. It says connect with Chef AJ. Just fill it out and tell us who you are, and that's how you get in touch with us. Now, a lot of times the Daily Show, and I'm just going to take a moment just to tell you a little bit about the show. So if you're just somebody that wanted to know how do I get on, you don't have to keep watching this video, but I think it's important to let you know why it's sometimes difficult to answer live viewer questions. So Chef AJ Live is a show that I have done every day since March 20th, 2020, which was the day that in the city that I live in, sheltering in place began. And I didn't realize it was going to be a show because I'm not a YouTuber in the traditional sense. I actually have a full-time job, which is not YouTube. This is more my service or passion. I really love doing it. And before sheltering in place began, the people in my community, I live in a 55 and over community, they were recommended by our governor to start sheltering. So they were getting pretty lonely. We couldn't meet anymore. I have a meetup group in person for people that want to eat healthy, and we were meeting every month, and that stopped obviously and hasn't started again. And so I was just trying to create a sense of community and connection with these people, and being probably the third least tech savvy person on the planet, I pushed the wrong button, and instead of broadcasting to my private group, it went to both YouTube and Facebook simultaneously. I use a system called Restream where you can actually broadcast multiple places at a time. And about 500 people were watching, and they were really appreciating the sense of connection, especially early in the pandemic. And I figured, well, I'll go live every day if you want it, but I kind of get sick of hearing myself talk. And so I asked a few friends to come on, and luckily I have some wonderful friends in the plant-based world who are chefs and doctors. And so people started coming on, and people were watching both in the replays and live. And so thus Chef AJ Live was born. And as of the recording of this video, I've done over 700 episodes. I think I'm at like 730 now or something like that, because I go live every day at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And there are times that I've done up to 2 more bonus shows when people have been trying to get on because maybe they have a book and the publisher didn't contact me in time, but I really have to get back to finishing my own books, which are coming out next year, and really just concentrate on doing that one show a day live at 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you want to be notified of when I go live, the best thing to do is to subscribe to me on YouTube. I'll put a link below. I'll have that in the show notes. And then there's a little bell you hit, and it can tell you when I go live outside of the 11 a.m. time. Occasionally the show isn't at 11 a.m. And the reason is because there are people that want to get on that live in countries where 11 a.m. would be the middle of the night for them. So on occasion, I'll do a show as early as 7 a.m. or as late as 7 p.m., but that would not be my preference. Now, when you watch the show live, there is a chat function, but you only see it on YouTube. And that's why if you love Facebook, I'm not trying to get you to leave it, but you might want to consider watching live on YouTube. And the reason is because there is a chat feature, and we call this the Zoomunity. It's a community that we created on Zoom. It's been over 1.5 years now, where very often the same people show up every day, and they've actually gotten to know each other through this chat, and they almost take roll and make sure that everybody's there. And it's just a wonderful group of people, sometimes up to a couple of hundred of them. And unfortunately, if you watch on Facebook, you can see my comments to them, but I can't see yours. And I don't like to be jumping screens and maybe, not paying attention to the guests. And so I really don't see the questions on Facebook. I mean, I can, but then I have to move screens, and that's not something I like to do because I could I could mess up the broadcast doing that. So if you're on YouTube, I can't see you physically, but I can see your chat. And the thing is if you want to submit questions, the best way to do it is, as I mentioned, to sign up for my newsletter. And the reason is, it's not because we're trying to get you as a subscriber, is it a couple of things. Number one, there are many of the doctors, and we get more questions when there's a medical doctor or a psychologist like Dr. Lyle than any other guest. A lot of them want to see them in person, and they won't answer spontaneous questions. That's number one. Number two, I have a separate email that those come to, and they stay there forever. So if we don't get to them 1 month, we can get to them again. When you type things in the chat, it goes very quickly. Now, let me try to explain this to you, because it may not go very quickly for you, because you're watching where you're watching. You might be watching on my personal page, Chef AJ. You might be watching on my professional page, Chef AJ. You might be watching in one of 7 different Facebook groups that I'm either the moderator for or in, because I'm broadcasting this show far and wide. Most people choose to watch on YouTube. And so what happens is you're only seeing the chat where you are. So if you're watching from one of my small groups and there's only 3 people watching, of course, you're going to say, well, what is she talking about? There's no comments. But because people are using the chat feature, not just to ask questions, but to also chat with each other, what happens is mine goes fast, like a New York stock ticker tape. And so after a few minutes, whatever that question was, it's already gone. I don't have it. And so therefore, when you send the question in advance, then I have it, and it's there like on your permanent record. And when we say send it in, I guess you could use the get in touch with us feature, but the easiest and best way to send a question is once a week, usually on Sunday, occasionally on Saturday, we send an email to all our subscribers listing the guests for the entire week. We have their picture, we have a short bio, and we will tell you, oh, they're going to be talking about this. If we know the subject, if it's a PowerPoint, or they're going to be doing a cooking demo, we might even be able to tell you the recipe. So when we send that in, the easiest way as a subscriber is to just hit reply and say, this is a question for. And it's also good to say which guest, because a lot of times there's multiple guests and multiple doctors. And please keep in mind that when we have doctors, most of them cannot answer personal medical history questions. So general questions about diabetes or autoimmune is better than when you give all your labs. There's some doctors that will, but in general. So if we don't ask your question, that's usually the reason. So as far as guests on the show, one question I get is, do I have to be vegan? No, you don't have to be vegan. The theme to Chef AJ Live, if you watch it at all, as I say, I'd like to introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Now, only 1% of the world is vegan, and I've been vegan for almost 45 years, and I know a lot of vegans, but there are a lot of wonderful people in this world that aren't vegan or aren't vegan yet that have a lot to contribute. So that is not a prerequisite for being on the show. That said, I would not have a guest that is not vegan. They would not be able to promote animal products, that's it. But if they have a company and they're making, I don't know, what if I don't know, like a water bottle, for example. No, I've had people that have had products that I like that are vegan, like a skincare person. She's not vegan, but I'm still going to have them on the show. So I appreciate if you don't attack them in the chat, knowing this, because it's not a prerequisite, and we wouldn't be talking about diet to those people. Also, I think it's important to often talk to people that have differing points of view. One of the things I'm known for, and which is why I think I attract such wonderful guests, is I am not Howard Stern. I'm not here to make my guests feel bad or even disagree with them or argue with them. That's not who I want to be. So that's the kind of guest that I want to attract and have, conversations about these important matters. As far as chefs are concerned, even the chefs, we've had, chefs that aren't vegan on the show personally, but they are fabulous vegan chefs. So if you're a chef that wants to be on the show, or you don't have to be a chef, but we have people that do cooking demos, the prerequisite is all the recipes must be vegan, and you don't have to eat or cook or eat the way I eat, which is SOFAS free, SOFAS, sugar, oil, flour, alcohol, salt. But the recipes must be at least oil free. And if you use sugar and salt, hopefully not a lot, and it's hopefully optional, but that's really the only prerequisite for the recipes. If you have a vegan product and it's oil-free, I can put you on the show, because sometimes there's lines of products where not every item is oil-free. You can still come on the show, but I have had people that produce vegan products that there wasn't healthy options. So we turn down very few people. But please know that if you're in the chat, I'm going to link to this video. When you say, hey, why don't you have so-and-so on the show? You have to ask so-and-so to contact us. We have had very bad luck, or not luck, but when I have contacted people that I don't know. Now, if I know somebody, like if you say have Colin Campbell on, of course, I mean, I'd love to have him on. I'll have him on again. I'll contact him. I know him. But when you say have this person on because they're great, or this doctor, even if you give us their contact information, we don't cold call people. We did that very early on, even some of the sensational YouTubers that you admire, and we were met with very rude remarks like, if I wanted to be on your show, don't you think I'd contact you? So we don't do that anymore. We have a waiting list of 6 months to get on the show because I really can only do 1 episode a day. And also because almost every single guest that has been on the show wants to come on multiple times. So we might have to say like 3 times, like for a while, and then you can be on the cancellation list. So if you have somebody you're passionate about getting on the show, simply tell them to watch the first few minutes of the video and have them contact us. And I think that's about it. So hopefully this is more than you wanted to know about how the show works and what made it happen and things like that. I appreciate so much that you watch the show, and hopefully that you like the show. And we love the active chat that we have both in the Zoomunity and people to contact, make comments afterwards on YouTube. I would say just please keep it respectful and not be mean. And if you have recommendations, again, please send the person this video. And that's it. And thanks so much for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live, even though this one wasn't live. Take care. And I really do wish you the best of health. Bye-bye.